when I have these fleeting thoughts of like, you know, what would it be like if I quit BiteSite and went to a 9-to-5 job? It always comes back to the work that I'm doing is the work that I want to do. So the last couple of years have been a pretty awesome time for BiteSite. I mean, like BiteSite was getting more work, getting more employees, growing and growing, and getting more stable. You know, we're bringing in people, we're teaching them processes, we're defining processes, we're bringing on a co-op student, we're bringing on some salespeople, we're filling out playbooks and all this kind of stuff like that. And that's pretty cool. Like that was, like the last couple of years have been really, really exciting for BiteSite that way. And I think that's the cool thing. It's like the last couple of years of BiteSite have really been like a solidification of who we are. You know, I think people like who we are and what we're about. And that's been pretty exciting. Like I feel like we're not like a household name in Ottawa by any means, but you know, some people know about us, and that's really exciting. I think the story of BiteSite is that it was a series of events that just naturally led from one to the next. So rough timeline. So summer 2012, start BiteSite. January 2013, decide to start leaving my job. All throughout 2013, started getting more and more clients. You know, 2014, same thing. 2015, decided to bring on my first hire. In March of 2015, incorporated the company. Very shortly after, I think it was August of 2015, hired my second employee. Right there and then we realized that we needed office space, so it was around August or September of 2015 we moved into my Byward office. Around September 2015, that's when I fully cut off TellDo, my job. Went full-time BiteSite. November 2015, we hired Tim as our first filmmaker hire. And then 2016, we were kind of running. 2017, 2018, kind of became a stable business at that point. I think the story of BiteSite really begins when I decided to leave my first job. This is where I was working when I started BiteSite. And so like TellDo is part of this like bigger community, this bigger incubator called Wesley Clover. All these tech companies, and we were kind of like seated in the tech world for video work. So, I mean, it's great that way. Like there was a lot of like stuff that was brewing here actually in Kanata here. So, like I'm very aware that I'm on camera. That's the tough thing, is that when you're in filmmaking and then you're asked to be on camera, and if you're a little bit of a salesperson, you act a certain way. You don't just talk naturally. You're like, okay, this is TellDo and da-da-da. But yeah, this is TellDo. So this is where I worked from 2011 until 2000. I officially left the company in 2015, so about 4 years. But from 2013 to 2015, I was slowly reducing my time at TellDo. So yeah, it's up. It's the second floor up there. I mean, this whole area is a bunch of different companies. Wesley Clover is in here with a lot of incubator companies and startups, stuff like that. So I guess I don't have to yell. I have a lavalier mic. Hey. So Sarah and Tom were one of the first people we interviewed actually when we started doing LSpark stuff. So it's very fun.
Remember you did our first video about my home studio?
Yes.
Remember when we met at LSpark? I think that was the first time I met you before we got into the
Yes, because I didn't meet you. I had met Tom before,
yeah,
but yeah.
I remember meeting you there.
All right, have fun.
All right.
Good to see you guys.
Bye.
I mean, you can kind of say BiteSite was born here. It was definitely in this organization that the idea for BiteSite came up. And it was definitely in this organization where BiteSite got started. And I was able to do what I want to do because, again, CEO Carruthers was super gracious in helping me out. So it was, I'm almost positive it was after the Christmas break. I think what happened is I've been running BiteSite from summer 2012 until about January 2013. And I was pretty positive that I'd been getting enough work that I wanted to now go part-time with TellDo. So 4 days a week with TellDo, 1 day a week with BiteSite. And I wanted to bring this up with Carl basically when I got back. I can't remember if it's exactly the day I came back or the week I went back or whatever. But so we were in our new offices, and I basically said, Carl, can we meet or whatever? And he's like, sure. And he's sitting at his desk, and I sat down in the chair, and I said, Carl, what do you think about the idea of me going part-time? Yep. And I pretty vividly remember he just kind of smiled and said, why do you want to go part-time? And then I told him about, I'm running a business and all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. I said, can I go 1 day a week off? Because I don't know how it's going to do. And he just basically said, yeah, like right away, without issue. So it's no, that's a little bit nostalgic, to be honest. There's so many times I hear the question of how do you take the plunge? How do you cut your ties and go for something, right? Which is hard to do. And for me, I didn't have to. It was like I could still do a steady paying job at TellDo and do my own thing and slowly build the business. So yeah, it was just really easy, and Carl's a big factor of that. He really, it was just like not even a question to him. He's like, yep, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And it happened. Kanata, I mean, my time in Kanata with TellDo, LSpark, Wesley Clover, I think it definitely opened my eyes to startups. These guys were huge when we were actually getting started and growing, so.
You still got the card?
I do not. It doesn't work anymore. They deactivated my card. Hey, how's it going?
Oh, get out.
Hey, Leo, how's it going? So this is Leo Lax, founder of LSpark. So we're just doing a little documentary on our company and how we got started. And
okay, well, we are happy to help. I mean, you actually helped us a lot by getting our name and lights and getting our companies to understand how to do things the right way. You've been fantastic.
I've always been thankful for the opportunity you guys have given us. I mean, it's huge. And I mean, we've been talking a lot about how Wesley Clover and LSpark were kind of instrumental in our formative days. So it's been really good. So
we're about to start our next cohort.
Yeah.
So that's
have you selected the cohort already?
Not yet.
Yeah. And you're doing farm team stuff now too, right? Yeah.
Samantha here.
Oh, hey. Yeah. How's it going? Nice to meet you. Yeah. No, you were talking to Brendan, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. And you guys are starting the accelerator, or?
Yeah.
Cool.
Started this week.
Great.
So we're really excited.
Yeah, gonna be intense. You're gonna work them hard.
Well, that's the plan.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Well, welcome and congratulations on getting in.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah, Jamie Petten, who's no longer with LSpark, she's moved on to Kanata North BIA. She was somebody that we worked with all the time and was amazing. And we did really a lot of our best work here because of Jamie. So Pat, again, film guy, I guess wanted a pretty big video component as part of LSpark when we were getting started, when LSpark was getting started, and he basically recruited me to come work for them. I think at the time it was a day a week. So a day a week, I was doing video work for LSpark, which was pretty cool. It was like we were filming at least once a week, producing a video at least once a week. Just kind of really good, steady work, which was really awesome. But bigger than that is really getting connected to the network, which is really, really cool. People start to know us because we're putting out so much video content for them. But I think the bigger thing is that LSpark, I mean, their big mission was to build up, the startup world in Ottawa and beyond. And because of that, we were connected to the whole startup ecosystem, what's great is that every now and then I would meet people who would treat me as their equal, which was crazy because these companies were doing amazing things and I was kind of running this like small services company. And so it was cool because I think that was when I really started to kind of understand or start to feel like understand this kind of startup ecosystem and what it's all about and entrepreneurs and business and startups and all this stuff like that, and started to talk the talk and all this stuff like that. So, LSpark gave us a real kickstart, not only in our video work, but really in being a part of the startup world in Ottawa, and Kanata and surrounding areas. So. There's a lot of stuff, again, that I'm very proud of, and when people ask me like, oh, like, how did you do this, how did you do this, how did you do this, you start to like realize, oh, there is a lot of stuff that we've done, which is great, but it happens so organically that you don't really think like, wow, we've done it, right? It's just like, it just happens day to day, and eventually, you look back and like, wow, we've done something pretty cool here. So I do think it was really cool when we had an article about us in the Canada North Business Association magazine. It was cool to see our name and our article in a magazine when we sponsored our first hackathon. And I remember they brought up like the sponsor list, and our logo just happened to be like, it seemed to be front and center. It wasn't on purpose, and it's not because we sponsored any more than the other sponsors at that same level. But it was cool to see like our logo big there. And speaking of that, SAS North, like to see our name on the sponsorship list of SAS North was crazy, because there are like crazy companies that were on there, and here we are, BiteSite, right? So, just to see like kind of public visibility of your company, it was super cool. Those things definitely like feel very, very cool. And you know what, when we go to events and we see our work, it's really crazy. Even on the software side, when we start to develop features that start to bring, our customers money, that's like super, super cool stuff. So. So we're at the University of Ottawa campus. This is where I did my undergrad. Lived on the 5th floor or 4th? I can't even remember now. So this area, the trees used to be massive actually. Like they tore them down and replanted them, I guess. I mean, BiteSite is two parts, right? It's a software company and it's a film production company. And the software side really kind of starts here. Actually, it was in high school that I started making movies, like, cheap movies, cheap amateur movies with my friends. And I was like, okay, it would be really sweet to become a filmmaker or do video for a living. But I was like, that's like a pipe dream. That's like wanting to be an NBA basketball player or whatever. So I actually went into software engineering with the intent of becoming a video game programmer so I could do something like filmmaking. I think it was like second year university, I got back into filming. I actually filmed this like 8-part documentary series called University that followed the lives of these 4 people that were in university living in a house together. So I obviously had the film itch. And I had basically decided that, you know what, no, I still want to pursue film. Like, it was like within a week or something like that, I'd gone from thinking about film school to like into film school. I knew I was going to finish my undergrad though. It'd be stupid to go that long into my undergrad and not finish my undergrad, because I didn't know how film school was going to work out. Definitely guided a lot of how I do filmmaking today. So no question, it was great. Now the only reason I came back to Ottawa to a software job is, I don't think I was cut out for Hollywood and Hollywood style filmmaking. I mean, not specifically Hollywood. I mean, big budget, that style filmmaking. I don't think I was cut out for it. Like, it's crazy hours. It's hard to make it in that industry. Like, you can be a PA for a really long time and never make it. I don't think I was cut out for it. So I decided not to pursue it. But luckily, filmmaking has still been kind of a part of my career. So. So I was working out of my home for a long time. Actually, I would go to Tim Hortons a lot to work. then we were gonna have our first team meeting. So it was me, Ryan, and Tucker gonna have our first team meeting. And we went to the Starbucks on Rideau, sat down, and it just did not work. Like, it was too noisy. We had 3 laptops trying to fit it on tables and stuff like that, and that wasn't working really well. And there was just like, it just wasn't working very well. So after that meeting, we decided basically, well, I decided that no, I have to get office space. So I think it was like that week or something like that, I actually picked up the phone and called Eric from My Byword Office. My Byword Office is this co-working space that one was only 2 blocks from where I lived, so that was good. And 2, just looked gorgeous. So, you know, it was really exciting. Like, there's these milestones when you start a business that definitely are exciting. When I hired Ryan, that was really exciting because, like, our first hire, first member of the team. And the second milestone that was super exciting was getting our office space. So up there is My Byword Office, and that's where we are today. We are still there today. We're still operating out of there today. Let's walk and talk, and we'll check it out. So My Byword Office. So this is where we ended up, 78 George Street, Suite 204. We came at a good time because Eric's here. I can't even remember when we started. Do you remember? Like, do you remember
It would have been right around September.
Okay, September 2015, right?
2015, September.
Yeah, so we've been here almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
And I was saying, good or not, like, we've been here for a long time. We haven't outgrown the space yet, but we like the networking that happens here. We like the camaraderie that happens here, you know, like, and so we've obviously been like super happy here.
When you first started, that was a big part, and why I was really happy that BiteSite came on board was because that was the community I wanted to have. I wanted to have a community of creative people who were professionals and really excelled at what they did, and took care and were willing to engage other people outside of just themselves.
It's such a huge part of who we are now. You see like all these like sweet offices like FreshBooks, Shopify, Facebook, Google. You see all those sweet offices and you're like, well, I can't work in a space like that unless I run a $40 billion company or something like that, right?
Or you get massive funding.
Yeah, but here you kind of get that.
Thanks, Casey.
Yeah, thank you. I've always viewed BiteSite when it comes to the software side as a Kickstarter kind of company. Like I always picture that BiteSite would build, you know, an initial version for a client, get them started, introduce them to great processes, great practices, introduce them to the software methodology that we use, introduce them to tools that we use, languages that we use, all that stuff. And then they get enough traction that they go and hire somebody and then they're on their own 2 feet, you know, and that's kind of how I've pictured BiteSite for a long time. Now, that vision is changing a little bit, but what's interesting is on the software side, we actually started seeing our clients do that. So Splice was one of our big clients for a long time, and they eventually hired their own software engineer, and they're doing their software engineering in-house now. So that's pretty cool. We're seeing it with international safety as well, and it's only recently with a little bit of the downsizing where it's a little bit, and you think a little bit about how we're going to push into the future and actually become a bigger company, you know. So for a long time we've kind of been operating in a mode that's just been like a well-oiled machine without me thinking too much about what the next step is, and I think I need to put some conscious effort there. Doing what I love. We're making movies, I'm writing scripts, we're doing storyboards, we're doing designs, I'm developing in Rails, I'm developing in React. You know, that's what I love. I love when, you know, we have a whiteboarding session with a client. I've kind of forgotten for sometimes how cool that is, but when you watch the making of scenes of like movies, and it's like they're doing storyboards and stuff like that, that's what we're doing. You know, we're whiteboarding these ideas about making a video, a 60-second promo video, and that's amazing. That's so cool. That's like, it's really cool what we get to do. It's really cool what we get to do at BiteSite. It's nice to sit back and think about we built something, and you know, it's doing pretty well. So when I think about the story of BiteSite, it's probably chapter 1 right now.